Today I'm gonna show you what I personally consider to be the best JRPGs released on the Xbox One. What, you didn't know there were JRPGs released on the Xbox One? Well, now you do, and there's actually a lot of them. But I'm gonna show you my 10 favorite today, including a lot of honorable mentions at the end. So let's begin! Number 10. Octopath Traveler. Yeah, you didn't know this game was here? It was released digitally on the Xbox One exactly 1 year ago. Also, gamers could play it with the Game Pass too. Is it a port, a remaster? Did anything change? Nope, not really. It's the exact same game available on PC, Switch and Stadia. But this is one hardcore master that I've been recommending a lot since I beat it, because it's just very good and everything makes its hard-ass shenanigans worth it. The characters, the story, the graphic style, and the music, especially the music, man! Though I believe the story for some characters was also masterful. I wonder why this game wasn't released on the PS4 though. If it broke the console barriers, why not go straight up to Sony too? Beats me, but at least there are several ways nowadays to play this excellent game other than the expensive Switch version. Number 9. Valkyria Revolution. I'm including this game here over others because I'm a big fan of it. I don't care one bit about the hatred it got for being a clunky action RPG with barely any strategic value. I knew what I was getting into, which is why I greatly enjoyed it. You gotta play this awesome spin-off for its story and music, the latter being by legendary Yasunori Mitsuda. It's a very mature plot about a group of orphans who cleverly orchestrate a war so they can exact their revenge against the Emperor. It's got a very intriguing nature to it with some really insightful dramas and conversations between characters. Just imagine the development here, in my opinion the strongest in the series, and its graphics are also a truly sight to behold, even on the Xbox One. I'd say you play this game and decide for yourself while ignoring the critics. It's still dirt cheap on this console after all. Number 8. Ys Origin. I'm an Ys fanboy, so despite some of you being tired of seeing me talk about this game, I still had to include it. I have to tell people that there's an Ys game on Xbox, and as of the making of this video, it's the only one. I think Falcom could use the extra cash, so releasing more of their RPGs on Xbox systems will be great, especially considering how popular the Game Pass is. Why only Ys Origin? I don't get it, but it's great, isn't it? Because this is an excellent game, A-tier material, with two characters to choose from, both playing completely different by the way, but traversing the same tower. It's the prequel to all Ys games, so it's a perfect way to start. Quite challenging even on easy mode, but I still believe it's a neat entry for beginners. Xbox One players, I hope you give this game a chance. Maybe Falcom will start noticing that it's a company worth releasing more of their games for. Number 7. Tales of Vesperia. In case you didn't know, the HD remaster of this game is also available on the Xbox One, and it's one of the very few Tales available on it. The Xbox, however, was no stranger to it, as the original North American release used to be an exclusive to the Xbox 360. That's right, the PS3 version stayed in Japan for very dumb reasons. This new version though is a remaster precisely of that PS3 version, which includes its 2 extra playable characters that weren't in the original 360 release. A lot of new features are included in this remaster, like some mini-games that weren't there before. They didn't call it the definitive version for no reason. It really feels very complete and satisfying, rendering the original releases obsolete. So in case you own an Xbox One, Tales of Vesperia is strongly recommended, as it is also quite balanced on easy or normal mode, a great entry into the Tales series. Number 6. Scarlet Nexus. Scarlet Nexus is an action RPG with a very interesting twist in combat. This is a game where you choose between two main characters. Even though their paths intertwine quite often, each has their own party members and different role in the story, which in my opinion is one of the two biggest highlights of the game. Yes, the plot here is deep, complex and bizarre, just the way I like it. Graphic design in this game looks badass, and it was a visual pleasure for the most part. Combat is real time, but you can only control your main character. Two allies will join you in battle, controlled by the AI, but since your whole party, including them, have their own unique skill, you can use it too with your main character. Both Yuito and Kasane have psychokinesis, which lets them control objects to throw at their enemies. It takes a while to get used to this combat, but once you do, it's awesome, with a few issues but still awesome. I recommend playing the game with Kasane first. I think her story and characters are more interesting, but that's just my opinion. I was glad to see this game nominated for RPG of the Year. Number 5. Code Vein. When this game was announced, I was so hyped. Rarely do we see JRPG settings that are gothic, dark and real edgy nowadays. I was nervous that its Souls influence would make it unappealing for me, but it certainly wasn't. It was a huge hardcore experience for me to beat it, as it doesn't offer any difficulty settings, but every second of it was completely worth it, especially because it had a great, intriguing post-apocalyptic story to keep me going, and a really solid cast of characters. I thought they were gonna be merely fan service tropes and whatnot, but I was wrong. Despite their looks, the development is great. I don't think I need to mention its deep level of customization since it got some of its popularity for that. Code Vein is a tough bastard, but one that it's highly recommended to go through. Number 4. Tales of Arise. Nominated for RPG of the Year, Arise is one of the few Tales available on Xbox as well. It's good to know this excellent game was so successful. It's already sold over 1 million copies worldwide in just a few months. While I don't think it's the best Tales, it definitely comes close in the best 5. It had these beautifully looking graphics, a great cast of characters and a solid gameplay that brought a lot of people into the series. But I believe we can all agree the protagonist of this game is the combat. It was more technical this time than the usual fast-paced hack and slash the series is known for. It was a great evolution from the battle system in Tales of Vesperia, but without certain restrictions. And it's hard, it's challenging, but also very immersive. Is it great for beginners? It sure is if they're into hard games, but there's also an easy mode that's greatly balanced and not really easy, so yeah, this is a great entry. Number 3. Valkyria Chronicles 4. This game came as a surprise to me when it was released, since my expectations were low. I didn't think anything could come close to the masterpiece that is the first game, which isn't on any Xbox console for some reason, and while this fourth entry didn't exactly surpass it, it sure came really close, as it's just as fantastic. They kept the formula alive by continuing the saga in the same universe, but now with a different squad, fleshed out characters with strong development and detailed attention to even the most irrelevant. Once more, the mission design was superb, maps flowing with creativity again, and those beautiful cel-shaded graphics are back. This is an absolute must-play for fans of strategy RPGs, but also and especially for fans of Valkyria Chronicles. Number 2. Dragon Quest XI. This is a definitive edition that originally came out on the Switch a few years ago. It comes with all the extra features that version had, but obviously it looks much better on the Xbox One. The game's a masterpiece and the long-awaited return of the Dragon Quest series since 9 came out on the DS many years ago. X was online only in Japan, so yeah, it was a long wait for the rest of the world. It's balanced, beautiful, with tons of exploration and side content, including a really challenging post-game adventure. And unlike many of the older Dragon Quest games, this one has a strong character focus with excellent development. It's a wonderful game, so good it absolutely needed to be available in as many consoles as possible. Number 1. The Nier games. I'm including both games here even though they're both standalone. They do take place in the same universe, however, and there are some strong connections between both, especially with some important characters. But you don't need to play them in order. Nevertheless, it's crucial to know that Replicant is a remake of the original game released on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 over 10 years ago, but a remake of the version that stayed in Japan, because we got instead Gestalt with the old dude as the main character back then. Here you play as the big brother instead. Automata is the one most people know because it was a colossal commercial success, selling over 5 million copies worldwide. They're both excellent action RPGs with amazing combat and terrific controls, beautifully looking with great visuals and very memorable soundtracks. No need to stress out the dark, deep and carefully told stories in both, among the best ever written in JRPG history. I can't believe Replicant wasn't nominated for Best RPG of the Year. I didn't include games like Final Fantasy 15 or Kingdom Hearts 3 because even though those games are on the Xbox One as well, I'm just not a fan of them. And there's also a lot of remasters, ports, re-releases, indie RPGs. Those Final Fantasy remasters are also here as well. So yeah, the Xbox One does have a lot of JRPGs, believe it or not. But anyway, on to the honorable mentions. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!